This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you know it. I know it. We talk about it. We kind of sometimes even hide from it. So there you go. Anyways, how are you doing on this second day of February, which is, of course, a Friday of 2024, day 33 of the year, and only 333 days left to go. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM and hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Yes, infiltration and Radio Big. There is no greater combination as we are doing our thing over there. So there you go. Anyways, how have you been for the last 24? Because that's always an important question. How are things going? Seriously, how are things going for you? Good. Glad to hear. Glad that things are on the up and up. Because that's always an important thing as we are talking. So let's see. Let's start off with number one. I wasn't here yesterday because, the voice box thing decided not to work too well. And I didn't think you wanted to hear me sucking up snot yesterday and doing all that kind of fun stuff. So I figured, hey, let me kind of vanish, and then we'll kind of go from there. So that's one. What else? So let's see. Today we're going to be talking, hanging out, doing all our kind of fun stuff. Remember, this is a 3-hour show. Hour 1 is on the podcast. Hour 1 is also on the video streamer. And hour 1 is also, on the radio station. So is 2 and 3. But hour 1 is only on Safety FM. The rest is, I guess it's on Safety FM and Radio Big. But 2 and 3 is on Radio Big standalone. So there you go. So a lot of stuff. It is Freeform Friday, so let's make sure that we're very specific there. So when I say it's Freeform Friday, what does that mean to you and me? Well, that means that we're going to talk about all the things we didn't talk about earlier in the week. So what does that mean? Well, I'm already a day behind because, hey, I got all the stuff from yesterday that I didn't get to talk about, even though I had it. I had all the stuff. Realistically, it was kind of a last-minute decision in regards of what happened yesterday, so apologize about that. I hate missing out in regards to what's going on. So let's talk. If you're not familiar with the show, this is what happens. We talk about safety in the news and safety. That's realistically what we do. We have some professional broadcasters that come in and they start talking about everything that is going on inside of the world. I mean, why wouldn't you want to do that? So they'll give you everything in real time, as close as possible as everything that's going on as they're getting it through their news feeds, and go from there. You have the opportunity of interacting with the show, not a problem, by going to callinradio.com. Callinradio.com. If you're on the video streamer, you'll see it pop up from time to time at the very bottom of the screen. So call in directly into the studio at callinradio.com. Once you do that, it'll give you some options of text messaging, video messaging, audio messaging. So you have options. You have choices. You're not limited or restricted into what you can do once you get there. So there you go. That's it. That's how it happens. And that's what we talk about. And that's what we do. So good stuff there. So with that being said, why don't we start getting into it right away and start talking about what the hell was trending in the overnight?
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
So as I look at the trends of the ends, it looks like here's what we got. Musk makes a move, and Ecuador closes in on high-profile gangster leader. We'll talk about that, or gang leader. I guess you can call him a gangster. Justin Timberlake is apologizing for nothing, and Danny Masterson heads to an infamous prison. We'll talk about that as we get into show business. Also, find out who assaulted Elmo in casting. Also, Travis Scott calls out his brother to join him on stage. And Prince Harry and Meghan Markle might be busy working after all. We'll get into that as we get into some deets. Some of the details of what is going on inside of the world. So with that being said, why don't we get into some news? I have some Mark Mayfield waiting right there in the wings for him to tell you exactly what the hell is going on with the news.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Mark Mayfield. U.S. officials have confirmed to CBS News that it's preparing to carry out a series of strikes in Iraq and Syria in response to the attack in Jordan that killed 3 U.S. service members. These strikes will target Iranian facilities and personnel over several days. This comes as President Biden told reporters he has decided on a course of action to retaliate. A number of Iranian groups in the Middle East have ramped up attacks on U.S. personnel in the region following Israel's ongoing war with Hamas. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is admitting he mishandled communication around his treatment for prostate cancer. Brian Shook fills us in.
Austin, in his first news conference since returning to the Pentagon, told reporters he kept his hospitalization from President Biden because Biden has a lot of things on his plate. Austin has faced sharp criticism as his unannounced hospitalization last month was not disclosed to Biden or other senior administration officials for days. I'm Brian Shook.
Texas Republican Congressman Dan Crenshaw is criticizing his GOP colleagues in the House for opposing a bipartisan border security deal. He said on Thursday that nobody has seen the Senate bill, which he claimed would significantly decrease illegal immigration. The congressman went on to say that there are some Republicans who may be against the measure because it would help Biden politically. Ukraine's army chief has been fired. Lisa Taylor has more.
President Zelensky has yet to make a formal announcement, but sources told CNN he's expected to soon. This would be the biggest change to his military since the beginning of Russia's invasion of Ukraine nearly 2 years ago. There's been a reported rift between the president and the general surrounding the Ukrainian counteroffensive's failure last year. The army chief calling the war a stalemate to The Economist magazine in November seemed to have added to that tension. I'm Lisa Taylor.
And Americans now have an obesity bill of rights. That announcement comes from the National Consumers League and the National Council on Aging. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
Listen to our host
Of the Rated R Safety Show.
self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
President Biden says the U.S. is praying and actively working for peace for the people of Israel and Gaza.
For all those who are living in dire circumstances, innocent men, women, and children, held hostage or under bombardment or displaced, not knowing where the next meal will come from.
He spoke yesterday morning at the National Prayer Breakfast. The president also said he and First Lady Jill Biden continue to pray for the families of the 3 U.S. service members killed in Jordan. Today, the president and First Lady will attend the dignified transfer of the service members' bodies. He finished by saying his prayer is that the country continues to believe its best days are ahead. New York Senator Chuck Schumer is poking fun at disgraced former Congressman George Santos. Lisa G. reports.
Schumer spoke at the Washington Press Club Foundation's annual congressional dinner and delivered some zingers about Santos's alleged religious background.
I am not just Jew-ish, like some other New Yorkers in Congress. I'm Jewish I'm the real thing, baby.
Schumer continued by saying last year George Santos said he was Jewish and added now he has a new ethnicity. He's finished. Santos, who was voted out of the House last month, has pled not guilty to 23 federal charges. Lisa G., Washington.
Brad Pitt is in talks to reunite with Quentin Tarantino for what will be the director's final film. The status of the deal is unclear, but the project is titled The Movie Critic, which is reportedly set in Southern California in the 1970s. And an agreement has been reached between an engineering firm and the residents of Flint, Michigan, who filed a class action lawsuit against the company. Veolia North America has agreed to pay $25 million to settle the case weeks before a trial was set to begin. Veolia did not admit to any wrongdoing and said the blame for the Flint water crisis should be directed at government officials. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Is your safety screen old, stale, and hacky? Safety trainers still preaching a warped version. How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Polzel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
I know you all want to hit your revenue targets and get the launch done. Well, making sure that your team knows what to do and how to do it is a huge part of it. So I'm sure that you all do different kinds of training, and I'm willing to bet that you probably use PowerPoint, Zoom, etc. I also bet that when you get someone droning on about a topic using these tools, you probably zone out. And your team does too. I mean, it is a reality of what happens. That's why I strongly recommend a tool called Articulate 360. That makes it so easy to whip together interactive, really beautiful e-learnings that really engages people and gets info across. You can create short-form micro-learning, super interactive courses, and really whatever you need when you're in their site. Then with a couple of clicks, you can send it out and check on it and see the progress of your team. Your team can also check back on the training anytime they want in a super simple portal. Literally everyone uses Articulate. Over 120,000 companies and all 100 Fortune 100 companies. Check it out at articulate.com/360 to start a free trial. That's Articulate.com/360 to start your free trial. And don't forget to tell them that I was the one that sent you there.
You are listening to a Radio God. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a Radio God. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
No es un dios del radio. Okay, so there you go. Anyways, currently 15 minutes past the top of the hour as we are hanging out. I was taking a listen to that one of those last stories talking about that company called Veolia. I used to work there. Scary small world in regard to what happens. Yeah, they used to do transportation a long time ago. I guess, well, how do we get into it? Their division was sold off into something else, blah, blah, blah. But when I started working at the company, it was Veolia. So I was kind of like, wait, hold on. I need to check or echo some more things as they're talking about that. So anyways, let's get into it as we are 15 minutes past the top of the hour because that's what we do here. We talk, we hang, we do some stuff, we talk about some things and go from there. So with that being said, farmers protesting the ongoing environmental regulations descended onto the European Union headquarters in Brussels on Thursday, starting fires, throwing rocks, and setting off fireworks in protest of the high taxes and the enduring effects of inflation. The aggressive demonstration coincided with the gathering of the EU leaders at the summit nearby. Demonstrators say that they are underpaid and overtaxed while the European leadership discussed sending another multi-billion euro aid package to the Ukraine war effort against Russia. Police on hand used tear gas and water hoses to push back the protesters. Some reports suggested that rubber bullets were fired at the demonstrators. But wait! One social media video shows police officers offering food to farmers in solidarity, which was out there, as you can take a look around and see exactly what was going on if you take a look. So there is some things out there that offered that. Also, what else? Reuters reports that farmers from Italy and Spain joined the demonstration in Brussels. Meanwhile, in Paris, farmers brought their protests into the city of Paris on Thursday, driving a convoy of tractors near the country's parliament building as other heavy machinery blocked off the highways. Social media videos, which can't be independently verified, but come from generally trustworthy sources, show empty produce sections at the grocery stores in France and Belgium as farmers just protest but strike from their job. So what do you think? What do you think of the impact? Overtaxed, underpaid. You know, I think about that West, what is it? The West, what is it? The Richmond, West from Richmond? That song in particular, when I start hearing stuff like this, I don't know. Some interesting stuff going on, no doubt about that.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, just a day after a judge ruled in favor of shareholders to revoke his $55 billion compensation package from Tesla, Elon Musk has called for a shareholder vote to move the company's incorporation from Delaware to Texas. Shortly after that, the judge's decision earlier this week, Musk posted on X, never incorporate your company in the state of Delaware. He later posted a poll asking about which more than 87% responded in favor of it. But of course, those just random internet weirdos voting online for a poll. Worth remembering, the judge that forced the revaluation of Musk's compensation package is the same judge who forced the sale of Twitter, despite Musk's concerns that the social media platform previous leadership had fraudulently misinterpreted its number of active users. So apparently this is not a judge that you kind of want to hang out with. I mean, if you're Musk, at least that's how it would sound. So imagine that. You have a package that you think that's coming in with $55 billion. Yes, $55 billion. And all of a sudden you get it. Contraire, mon frere. In regards, no, you cannot have that. It is, not what it's supposed to be. What do you think? I mean, it's a weird one. It's definitely a weird one when we start talking about it. So it was agreed upon And then all of a sudden, some things change. So I don't know. It gets strange. I mean, yes, in comparison to what other people make, absolutely. Yes, I know. It sounds grand, but it gets weird. I'm just saying. Anyways, take a listen to this. Add Denny's to the list of companies shutting down operations in Oakland, California. The only restaurant in the city announced that it is closing its doors for the safety and well-being of Denny's team members and guests. It's been open for 54 years. Denny's follows the closure of In-N-Out Burger, which will wrap up operations in Oakland in March. This is according to the New York Post. What the hell's going on in Oakland? Like, seriously, you lose your football team. You lose In-N-Out. What I think Safeway was saying that they were leaving too, if I remember correctly. Don't hold me 100% there. But man, what the hell is going on in Oakland? Like, I was watching the In-N-Out closeout stuff on the news, and they were saying, on the news, of course, that it was not uncommon to get 10 break-ins into cars in a day. I was like, what? How is that even normal? I mean, like, why would you not just have, like, some police officer out there or something? I don't know. Detractors beware. Anyways, President of Ecuador, Daniel Noboa, said last week that authorities are closing in on the location of a drug and gang kingpin, Jose Fito Marcias. Weeks after his disappearance from a prison cell, the ensuring disappearance sparked a nationwide crackdown on gang activity. No word yet on where exactly authorities are looking for, but rumors have swirled that Fito never left prison, but not now. Authorities have regained control of the facilities and likely ruled that out as a possibility. Argentina's government deported Fito immediately his family after just days after they purchased a home in cash. So there you go. What else? An asteroid similar to the size of the Empire State Building will zoom past the Earth today. No need to fret, however. The space rock will cruise by at about 1.7 million miles away. That's about 7 times the distance of the Earth to the moon. The asteroid dubbed, 2008 OS7 was discovered in 2008, and it won't make this way towards Earth again until 2032. So there you go. Yeah, so don't be looking for the movie Armageddon today, is really what it sounds like. Yeah, you might have a small panic attack trying to watch that shit at the same time as that going on. You know, you never want to look at it. It's kind of weird because I've been talking about that movie this week. I was having actually a full-blown conversation on Monday about it. Weird. Anyways, with that being said, why don't we talk about some other weird stuff? And let's bring in some Erin Royale and let her tell about Money Matters.
The Biden administration is submitting proposed prices for 10 drugs under Medicare. Negotiations, the White House says, will lower costs. The list includes everything from medicine for blood clots and diabetes to heart failure and rheumatoid arthritis. The drugs on the list are among the most purchased. Drug makers now have 30 days to respond to the prices, which they can accept or make a counteroffer. Hulu is cracking down on password sharing following similar actions by Netflix and Disney+. Silvana Anau reports.
Hulu says unless otherwise permitted by your membership plan, you will not be able to share your account with people outside of your household, which it defines as your primary residence. Now, if Hulu determines you have violated the agreement, it could limit or terminate your account. Hulu says the new terms took effect last week for new subscribers and will be effective March 14th for existing customers.
Amtrak aims to double ridership by 2040. The railroad company says it's investing in broader service, hoping to serve 66 million riders per year. The announcement comes as the Biden administration makes more investments in rail infrastructure. Taxpayer-supported Amtrak also plans to add about 3,500 jobs this year in construction and rail services. People who own a Ford Mustang Mach-E or a Ford F-150 Lightning in the U.S. will soon get a gift from the automaker. Matt Mattinson has the story.
Ford CEO Jim Farley says they will be sent a free fast charging adapter to use the Tesla supercharger network. They need to register with Ford to get the charging adapter. Farley says this is their way of thanking customers who have begun making the switch to electric vehicles, and Tesla's chargers allow vehicles to be recharged in 15 minutes to drive up to 200 miles.
Consumer and business news, Erin Royale, NBC News Radio.
Okay, so there you go. So if you are a Ford Mach-E or a let's see, a Ford F-150 Lightning owner. You'll be pretty excited about that. Now, I have to tell you, I'll just reference this. Depending on how you want to look at it, it's a good or a bad problem. I remember being in Vegas a few months ago, and it was not the easiest thing to acquire a charger in regards of charging a vehicle in the Tesla network because of how packed they were. So now adding Ford F-150s and Mustang Mach-E's, I wonder what that's going to do. I'm just saying that's one particular area. It's a good problem. Still a problem, but a good problem. Anyways, let's talk real quick about what I was able to find in regards to what was going on with finances. The Dow gained about 369 points to close at 38,519 on Thursday. The S&P gained about 60 points to close at 4,906, and the NASDAQ added about 197 points to close at 15,361. West Texas Intermediate closed at $73 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $78 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.15 on Thursday. Bitcoin ticked up and trading just over $46,000. And there was more than 2,600 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Thursday, and about 230 such cancellations. Tonight's Mega Million drawing will be for $333 million jackpot or $160.1 million cash payout. Saturday night's Powerball drawing will be for $206 million cash payout or $206 million jackpot or a $99.4 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, you have the opportunity to do so. So let's talk about these two because I talked about it at the top of the hour. If not, I wouldn't even talk about it at all. Justin Timberlake may have hard times performing at his upcoming tour with his foot in his mouth during a performance in NYC this week. JT told the crowd that he wanted to take a brief moment to apologize and then pause before saying to absolutely fucking nobody. While those in the attendance cheered, those who viewed the clip online took major offense, especially on behalf of Britney Spears and Janet Jackson, whom JT apologized in the recent past. Remember when Britney fans were upset at JT over revelation that he came out in his memoir? As of Janet, people are still angry over the Super Bowl performance 20 years ago yesterday when JT exposed her breast on national television. So there you go. And then here's another one. Danny Masterson has been relocated to Coran State Prison in California in San Joaquin Valley, a maximum security prison, to serve out his 30-year sentence. The prison is known for housing several infamous criminals, including Charles Manson, just to name one. So the move comes after Masterson's request for bail, which he sought for the appeals process, but was denied by the judge, who called him a flight risk. So there you go. This is according to the EW. So there you go. Some very interesting things going on right there as we are speaking. Let's go ahead and start talking about some other things that are going on. Community members are mourning the teenage victim of a deadly shooting out of Chicago's North Side. A classmate spoke about the Senn High School student's Devion Gibson while attending the vigil last night.
He was the nicest kid. No matter what you said, who you were, he was kind to everyone.
16-year-old Gibson was killed and two other teens were wounded on Wednesday near the school when a gunman jumped out of a vehicle and opened fire. No arrests have been made as detectives continue to investigate the situation on what had happened. Governor Pritzker is disappointed that the Chicago City Council passed a resolution calling for a ceasefire in a war between Israel and Gaza.
I don't think that resolution will have any actual impact on foreign policy of the United States or on the hostilities taking place in the Middle East.
The governor also criticized the wording of the symbolic resolution, saying that it didn't include all of the perspectives. The city council approved the ceasefire resolution on Wednesday as Mayor Brandon Johnson cast the tie-breaking vote following the heated debate. So there you go. There you go. I mean, what do you want me to tell you? I'm just telling you what's going on, man. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, San Diego top rescue officials say that they are pleased with residents' cooperation after the main rolls through the water swollen San Diego Phil Farrar has the deets.
San Diego Fire Rescue says it appears residents are heeding their warnings to stay out of creeks and don't drive or wade through floodwaters. San Diego Fire Chief Colin Stoll says crews are stationed along the San Diego River and flood-prone areas.
I'm happy to report that we only had one water rescue, and that was in the Chuyas Creek area where we rescued 2 males.
This happened near a homeless encampment along that channel. The Swiftwater Rescue Team used a tethered small watercraft to make the rescues in about 15 feet of water. That team is comprised of firefighters and lifeguards. I'm Phil Farrar.
Okay, thank you, Phil, for that one. No doubt about that. Take a listen to this. One student is injured and another one has been arrested after stabbing at a Baltimore County school. The incident happened in Kenwood High School in Essex. Shortly after noon on Thursday, as the school was placed on lockdown, Detective Trey Corbin says the investigation is ongoing.
That actually is under investigation, how the weapon necessarily got into the school. I can at least say it's a sharp object.
Medics transported a male student to a hospital with what appeared to be a non-life-threatening injuries. Another male student was arrested in connection with the incident, and he is now facing charges. Police say that school resources officer were present at the school when the assault happened. In December, Kenwood High School went into a brief lockdown after a report of someone in the building may have had a gun. One person was taken into custody, but no weapon was found. These students are reacting to the stabbing.
We went on lockdown. No one was told nothing. Everybody had to stay inside, stay in the classroom, stay in the cafeteria.
I saw the video, and I heard people say stuff.
We feel safe in school and stuff, and something like that would happen. It's crazy.
So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there as the students are reporting back on what they think. Colorado lawmakers are considering a bill that would look into racial injustice Black Coloradans have faced throughout the state history. State Representative Leslie Herrard, House sponsor of the bill, says that it would attempt to measure the economic damage of those injustices that have been caused.
We have a lot of work to do to face our history and rectify what has happened in Colorado and determine how we want to move forward together as a community and as a state.
Community members got the chance to weigh in yesterday and to start the Black History Month as Colorado Black Caucus held a meeting at the Supreme Court chambers. Black citizens shared personal stories of discrimination that they had faced while living in the state. Bill sponsors said these discussions are important and there are policymaking. The bill passed on the Senate State Veterans and Military Affairs Committee by 3-2 vote. The bill passes further to signed by the governor. History of Colorado will lead the research and submit a report to the General Assembly in July of 2026. Let's see. Sharice Hurd, a Denver native from the county, shared the story about the conviction of involuntary manslaughter that led to her serving 7.5 years. Take a listen.
I was in front of all these white jurors, not one black, and nobody sat up there and understood what I was going through but me. And my attorney was telling me, you're the wrong complexion.
So a lot of stuff going on right there. We'll take a listen to what exactly is going on as we go back. So take a listen to one more real quick. A 30-year-old sex offender in South Haven Township in Michigan is facing several charges after police found a 14-year-old missing girl from Washington State in his home. Mount Vernon, Washington Police Lieutenant Dave Shackleton says that he had been looking for her for weeks.
We first got a report that was missing back on January 6th. Her mother reported that sometime between the night of the 5th into the morning of the 6th, she had gone missing. We believe that she had gone voluntarily at the time.
She was found at the home of Keith Frickerson in Southwest Michigan. He is on the state sex offender registry for conviction in 2017 in Florida. The girl's family is working to get her home. Freskin said that he was charged yesterday with 2 counts of human trafficking and a minor for commercial sexual activity. Mount Vernon, Washington Police Lieutenant Dave says that the tip of the 14-year-old girl was from a South Haven Township in the southwest of Michigan. Take a listen.
So reached out to the Van Buren County Sheriff's Office, let them know about that information, and they were able to go out to the residence and recover.
So there you go. A lot of stuff. Glad to hear about the recovery. No doubt about that. Anyways, with that being said, let's go ahead and move back into some more news.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. A gas blast in Nairobi has killed at least 2 people and injured over 200. A lorry carrying gas exploded, causing damage to housing, businesses and cars in the Embakasi district of the Kenyan capital, with officials now investigating the cause. The US says it intends to place sanctions on any Israeli settlers accused of violence against Palestinians in the West Bank. The new executive order sees 4 people immediately blacklisted with financial and travel restrictions. Nick Harper reports from Washington.
The sanctions are the Biden administration's strongest yet against Israeli settlers. It means anyone accused or convicted of violence against Palestinians in the West Bank will be cut off from US banking systems and lose any property or assets that they have here in the United States. It also comes at a time when, despite its staunch backing of Israel, the Biden administration is trying to show that it is prepared to stand up for Palestinian rights. President Biden has received considerable criticism from Palestinian and Arab Americans who've been deeply angered by Washington's backing of Israel in the conflict in Gaza. Many have said they no longer support Biden.
A manhunt continues for the suspect in a chemical attack in London, which left a mother and daughter with potentially life-changing injuries. 35-year-old Abdul Azedi from the Newcastle area was last seen in North London on Wednesday night. Police have issued an image of the suspect with significant facial injuries. Former Metropolitan Police Detective Peter Blexley says attacks with corrosive substances aren't common.
Fortunately, a relatively rare type of offence, but that, of course, comes as absolutely no consolation whatsoever to the victims, the intended targets of this attack, and, of course, the innocent members of the public who got hurt as they endeavoured to be good Samaritans.
The US has approved a $4 billion deal to potentially sell India 31 armed drones 6 years after the two sides first started discussing the pact. The approval by the US State Department comes as the White House continues to try and wean New Delhi away from Russian arms. Priyata Brajabasi reports.
Experts say this approval indicates the deal has cleared at least one roadblock securing the approval of U.S. congressional committees. U.S. lawmakers cleared the deal reportedly after President Joe Biden's administration agreed to fully investigate an Indian assassination plot in America. An Indian national is facing charges of working with an unnamed Indian official allegedly plotting to kill Khalistani separatist Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, who's an American citizen. New Delhi says it is probing those allegations. Currently, India has some armed drones on lease for intelligence gathering operations. Washington says the proposed sale will strengthen the US-Indian strategic relationship and improve India's security. Priyata Brajbasi in New Delhi.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, a second part of our look at the accidents of history. They are the subject of a new book called Fluke. It's written by Brian Class, an associate professor in global politics at University College London. Yesterday, we heard him argue that the world is becoming less resilient to the impacts of unforeseen circumstances. One of the reasons why, he argues, that in so many countries, we are now living in tumultuous times.
The fluke is not unforeseen in the sense that it's actually an inevitable byproduct of the system design. So, a couple of years ago, a gust of wind hit a boat and it turned it sideways and lodged it in the Suez Canal. It caused $54 billion of economic damage because there's no resilience set up into our systems today. Accidents have always happened. They've always changed history. What I'm worried about is that we've set up a world where Starbucks will never change, but, rivers dry up and democracies collapse. The optimization principle has been so fetishized that you end up producing a lack of resilience. And so I worry that what we've done is embedded systemic risk into our world at the sort of short-term goal of efficiency and optimization, but the long-term cost of resilience.
He says the realm of politics can learn from the worlds of evolutionary biology and physics, and he argues there is a beauty in accepting the impact that flukes have on society. The book is called Fluke. It's written by Brian Class and published by Simon & Schuster. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, a gas blast in Nairobi has killed at least 2 people and injured over 200. The US says it intends to place sanctions on any Israeli settlers accused of violence against Palestinians in the West Bank. A manhunt continues for the suspect in a chemical attack in London, which left a mother and daughter with potentially life-changing injuries. And the US has approved a $4 billion deal to potentially sell India 31 armed drones. That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Well, you know that here at Safety FM and Radio Big, we're always trying to look for life hacks. So with the busy season just around the corner, you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals for your jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kits, can help you fuel up with fast chef prepared, dietitian approved, and ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. Refresh your healthy habits without missing a beat. Choose from 34 weekly flavored packs. Dietitian approved meals ready to eat in 2 minutes. All you need to do is head over to factorsmeals.com/safetyfm50 and use code safetyfm50 to get 50% off. That's code safetyfm50 at factormeals.com/safetyfm50 to get 50% off. Go there. Do it now.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at RadioBig.fm.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello.
Pop quiz hotshot. During a heat wave, what's more important, air conditioning or air guitar?
Is it air conditioning?
Air guitar. The answer is always air guitar.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring Safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
If you ever wished that Facebook had a suck it button, you suck! This rock block is for you. Radio.
I just wanna feel better.
Yeah, do you ever wonder what happens when we're behind the scenes? You're not missing much, I'm telling you. Anyways, we're still hanging out 45 minutes past the top of the hour. Yeah, Rated R Safety Show. Coming across the multiverse. Thanks for hanging out this morning. I really do appreciate it. Really love spending some time with you. Yep, you and me hanging out, doing our thing. Yeah, this right here that you're taking to listen to, this is After Our Eyes by The Wanderer. The song is readily available on Spotify, YouTube Music, and Apple Music. Give it a little streamer-eamer action. And thanks to The Wanderer for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. You know, it's not the easiest thing sometimes to get some of this music in here, but when we do, I love the majority of it. I can't tell you that I love them all. I'm not going to lie. But I like some of the basing. Like, this is a good bass. After Our Eyes. It's so early in the morning that it might be early morning eyes that we might need to be talking about. Anyway, so let's get into it. Let's start talking. Let's start doing all of our fun stuff. And matter of fact, before I do anything of that sort, let me tell you about the most important thing that I will tell you in my lifetime. This is not a joke as I say this, but this is about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. To Write Love on Her Arms wants you to know that people have been where you are now and things can get better. To find out more information, go to TWLOHA.com. TWLOHA.com. That's To Write Love on Her Arms. Once you get there, go all the way to the far right-hand side of the website and click on the section that says Find Help. I will tell you, there is information there that is life-changing. TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. I'm telling you, it is okay not to be okay. But looking for resources and things that are available, that's the website to go to. TWLOHA.com. So there you go. Anyways, let's talk real quick about some things that are going on today. Let's talk about some new movies that are going on. Argyll? Ellie Conway is a famous spy novelist who prefers to stay home with her cat, Alfie. But when her story about a secret agent closely mirrors real-life events, she finds herself caught up in her own story and racing to stay ahead of a global spy syndicate. Henry Cavill, Bryce Dallas Howard, and Dua Lipa are in there. So there you go. If you're a Dua Lipa fan, I guess go see that. John Cena's in it as far as I'm aware, too. What else do we have going on? Scrambled. Yeah, that comes out today. How does this say R-rated comedy, then it says PG-13 drama? I'm confused. An eternal bridesmaid. Nellie feels like the clock is ticking, and she decides to freeze her egg, setting her own empowering journey where she ultimately discovers the one she is looking for. Might be herself. So there you go. If you're looking for some movies, I guess there you go. Anyways, let's talk about some unholy bagels. Yeah, I said that, unholy bagels. If there's one thing that you need to know about Montreal, people from Montreal, it's this: don't mess with their bagels. But someone has done exactly that. The beloved maker Saint Viard Bagel is offering them up without a hole in these days, igniting something of a holy war in the city. Manager Saul Respestro isn't sure if this is what the fuss is all about. After all, he said it's the same thing. handmade, same process that we do, no hull. The Buggleton is actually a promotion with the Philadelphia cream cheese being conducted in 5 North American cities. The idea is that the bagel with no hull provides more surface for you to spread their favorite smear. But the idea has proven to be so controversial that some people won't accept one, even when offered for a free sample. No, not just more smear, but there's more bagel too. We understand that there's still a classic bagel Whole Foods. I mean, is it really that big of a deal? I mean, it's a bagel that has more stuff now that you can do with it. So there you go. Anyways, what else do we got? Let's talk about Did You Know? PETA wants to replace the Punxsutawney Phil with the beloved weather forecasting groundhog with the gold coin. The people of the ethical treatment of animals wrote an open letter to Punxsutawney Groundhog Club in Pennsylvania, which they encouraged the organization to remove the animal from the celebration. Should he be formally retired and taken into a sanctuary, PETA promises to present the group with a giant coin. Why? The letter says, beyond the shadow of a doubt, the groundhog weather prediction is no more accurate than flipping a coin. And should kindness prevail, and the huge coin could easily replace Phil at the Pennsylvania town gimmicks draw in tourists. Why do I get the strange feeling that they do this every year? So there you go. Yeah, because it is Groundhog's Day, just in case you did not know that. Maybe it's something for you to know. So there you go. Anyways, with that being said, why don't we do this? Let's go ahead and bring in some John Smalls and let him tell us about what the hell's going on with the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Lucero. Warren Buffett said, "There is one life decision that's more important than just about any other, the choice of a life partner. If you want to emulate somebody, you better pick very carefully who you want to emulate. The most important for most people in terms of that decision is their spouse. You want to pick a spouse that's a little bit better than you are. Then he or she, you hope they don't figure it out too fast. Then he also said, you have to associate with people who are better than you. And you want to have the right heroes. Obviously, you can't pick your parents. They are going to have an enormous influence on you, and you don't get a choice on that. But you get choices as you go down the line. Who you admire, who you want to copy. It's better to hang out with people better than you. Pick out associates whose behavior is better than yours, and you'll drift in that direction." This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
The World Health Organization predicts there will be more than 35 million new cancer cases by 2050. That would be an increase of just over 75% from 2022 levels. The majority of diagnoses are expected to be in low-income countries, with mortality seen as doubling. Americans now have an obesity bill of rights. That announcement comes from the National Consumer League and the National Council on Aging. It establishes 8 essential rights to ensure that people who are obese get screened, diagnosed, counseled, and treated according to medical guidelines. The move comes 10 years after the American Medical Association classified obesity, which affects more than 100 million Americans, as a chronic disease requiring comprehensive care. Other goals include battling bias, weight discrimination, and exclusionary coverage policies by insurance companies. Health Update, Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. William Temple writes, "There's only one sin, and it is characteristic of the whole world. It is the self-will which prefers my way to God's, which puts me in the center where only God is in place. That being the case, then it must be equally true that there's only one temptation, the ever-present temptation to choose my will over God's will. At the root of every spiritual struggle, there are only 2 forces at war, not so much good and evil, but God and self, what I call the Almighty I." Galatians 5 says, "For the flesh desires what is contrary to the Spirit. They are in conflict with each other." Lord Jesus, help us to choose your will over our will. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
Another pitfall of our society. Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, you know how we like it. Pitfall of society. That's what we're all about here. Yeah, that's it. There you go. So let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 1996, Allie Laundrie, 22, is crowned the 45th Miss USA. She would go to star in several Super Bowl commercials, be named one of the people's most beautiful people, and appear in several films and TV shows. Didn't she marry Mario Lopez at one point, too? That's probably a whole other story to talk about. Anyways, let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Sony Nicole Bringas turns 22. Tom Blyth turns 29. Julia Fox, 34. Southside, 35. Harold Piquet, 37. Jason Capono, 43. Shakira turns 47. Christy Brinkley turns 70. Dwayne Chapman, 71. And Ina Gardner, 76 today, just so you know. What else do we got? If you want to talk about some days of the year to celebrate, there is a ton of them. Groundhog's Day, National Crepe Day, World Play a Ukulele Day, National River Day, National Bubblegum Day, Number Day, National Catcher Day, National Hedgehog Day, National Working Naked Day. Are you working naked today? That's kind of a weird one. National Wear Red Day, National Give Kids a Smile Day, National Sled Dog Day, Marmot Day, National Tater Tot Day, World Wetlands Day, and National Brown Dog Day. So there you go. I don't think you get any more days in there unless you were just trying to really squeeze them more in. Jeez, man. How do you get into that? Anyways, at the top of the hour, I'll be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to come hang out with me for the next couple hours or so, because that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be hanging out over there and doing all kinds of fun stuff. If you stay here, you'll be able to hang out with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he'll go over the world of safety consulting. Anyways, before we do that, why don't we talk about Road to the White House for February the 2nd? Take a listen.
Road to the White House 2024. Nikki Haley is trying to cut into former President Donald Trump's lead in the upcoming primary in her home state of South Carolina. Election reports say Haley raised $24 million in the last 3 months of 2023 and entered 2024 with over $14 million in her campaign account.
We have had 200,000 donors from all 50 states. 95% of those donations are $200 or less. This is about real Americans.
But her numbers pale in comparison to Trump as he entered the presidential election year with $33 million in cash. In Washington, I'm Brian Shook.
Okay, there you go. Just some information for you before we get the hell out of here and go over. So if you need a random joke for today, let's do that. My wife says that she's happy the Groundhog Day can't bring us 6 more weeks of football. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. Aside from Fridays, what always cheers you up when you think about it? If you need a question for the water cooler, try this. Phone chargers are most commonly thing left behind in a hotel room. This is second. What is it? Dirty underwear. So there you go. That's going to sum up our time together. Thanks for hanging out. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, it makes no sense to do what we do around here. No doubt about that. So there you go. Anyways, I know who you are. Oh, you thought I was not going to tell you this. Let me leave you with a deep thought first. Now and then, it's good to pause in our pursuit of happiness and just be happy. There you go. Think about that one today. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.